Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers Galaxies Issue 2. Hasbro shuts down Backflip Studios, and new Transformers Cyberverse episodes are available. Today is Friday, November 1st, 2019, and this is episode 133 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that has an insatiable hunger for more Transformers media. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Yusuf, better known as Yoshi.
Yo!
Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how you doing?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hey, how's it going? Let's talk Transformers.
All right. As always, we start off by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. We couldn't do the show without you, so we really appreciate all your help. If you're not already a Donatreon, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support, and that's where you can sign up if you so desire.
There's a button there that now says empty your wallet here.
But it's nicer. It says it in a nice way.
Please.
If you don't want to do that, that's okay. We do have some merchandise that you can buy at our TeePublic store, and that is at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We are also have a friend of the show, K-Girl, our artist friend. She has her shop at teepublic.com/user/superstark. And I know she's probably coming down off of her TFCon high since she spent the weekend at TFCon DC. So hope she had a lot of fun and sold a lot of tote bags there. Also, this week, if you do hit up our store at TeePublic, there's a sale going on. So you've got 35% off everything on the TeePublic store. That means t-shirts are going to be just $13 a piece. So if you were thinking about a Transmissions t-shirt and you just thought it was too expensive, maybe now they're not too expensive. So you might want to check them out. So 35% off.
I just noticed that they've added phone cases for the new iPhones.
Oh, nice.
Right after I bought a case.
Oh.
But yeah, if you want to get one of our designs on a phone case, they have it for a number of different Android and iOS.
Cool.
Blackberry?
I don't know. Just look. I gloss over all the Android.
Good luck, Daryl. But yeah, so 35% off. I think that sale will be going on hopefully until Sunday. It started Wednesday, so we'll see. Check our Twitter if we'll let you know if the sale's going on. All right, let's start off the show with some comics news. All right, so just one bit of comics news this week. We've got the solicitations for January 2020. So all the Transformers comics coming out in January. We've got Transformers number 17. So that is continuing the ongoing story of the new Transformers continuity. And then we've got Transformers Galaxies number 5, which is starting the new arc of Cliffjumper. So that's, the Constructicon story ended in issue 4. So Cliffjumper will have a couple of issues following that. So I won't. There's some spoilers in the solicits, so you can check that out, but we won't mention them here. Then another curious entry coming out in January: Transformers 100-page Giant Power Predacons. So this looks to be a little anthology collecting stories from the UK Transformers back in the 80s. So issues 135 and 136. Transformers UK Annual 1987, Beast Wars The Gathering number 1, so that's an IDW comic, then the Transformers Spotlight Jazz, another IDW comic, and then a never before republished Transformers Dawn of the Predacus 2016 BotCon comic. So I believe that was the last BotCon comic? I think that was the one. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the one that actually was branded IDW.
Oh, right. Yeah, Did that ever come out like outside of BotCon? I think they teased that like a year and it never came out.
Can't remember.
Yeah.
I just know I got a copy.
But yeah, so it's a bit of a weird collection here. So you've got the G1 Predacons, then you've got like the Beast Wars Predacons, and it's a little weird. But yeah, if you're interested in Predacons and any Predacons, I guess you can check out this little anthology. So I'm wondering why they're putting this out, but yeah, it seems a bit weird. But I guess we'll check that out in January. All right, now let's move on to our comic review. All right, we are reviewing Transformers Galaxies number 2, Constructicons Rising Part 2. Written by Tyler Blazinski, art by Livio Ramondelli, letters by Tom B. Long, and editors David Marriott and Tom Waltz. We have 3 covers. The first one is by Livio Ramondelli, and it features Bombshell. No Constructicons.
The other 2 are
covered.
on there too.
Oh, yeah. All the Insecticons are there. The watermark is obscuring them. Anyway. No Constructicons, though. Just Insecticons. Cover B is by Alex Milne with colors by Josh Perez. And it's another group shot of the Constructicons looking pretty badass. Very nice image there. And the retailer incentive cover is by Andrew Griffith with colors by Priscilla Tramontano. And it is another group shot of the Constructicons. So, Daryl, which of these covers would you pick for this week?
I'm going to go with cover B, Alex's cover. Even though it isn't a group shot like you're going to see a lot of in this series, I do like how they're all kind of staggered. And you got Scavenger and Bone Crusher in the back, and they're all kind of faded, and then Long Haul's a little bit closer up, and he's still a little faded, but then you got the remaining 3 like right up in your face, and they're super crisp. And I'm sure that has a lot more to do with the coloring by Josh Perez than anybody else, but it's a really awesome image, and the lines are really crisp, so I like that one.
Yoshi, which cover are you going to pick?
I'm going to go with Alex Milne's cover, but I want to ask Daryl, like, are Andrew and Alex using 2 different character models or referencing 2 different character models?
I think they just probably got their own kind of style for the Constructicons. I don't think they've got character models going. They just the face sculpts is what they're going on, and then the Titan class is what they're really kind of going with there.
Andrew is more kind of the toy look.
Does who's on Alex's? Who's the one front and center cracking his knuckles?
That's Scrapper.
Dude, those are some long fucking fingers, man. Those are just sticking out so hard for me. It doesn't change my choice. I just want to point that out.
The leader needs long fingers to point.
Okay.
Or something.
Andrew's fingers are perfect. I mean, not one of them's out of place because you can't see any of them.
All right, Jeremy, which one are you picking?
I think I'm picking Andrew's. I don't know. I like the toy look, like the square heads. I think the coloring being a little darker, I don't know. There was just something about it that I enjoyed the other ones, but I just really like the look of this, the dark purple, the darker green. It just kind of fits the tone of the series.
Well, I am going to side with Daryl and Yoshi and pick the Alex Milne cover, Alex Milne and Josh Perez. I really like that. I like they just look super badass in this picture here, and I like Scrapper cracking his knuckles here. I think that looks cool.
It looks like an album cover, like like some kind of heavy metal or like super hard rock album cover.
Mm-hmm.
So more Nickelback, less Celine Dion for you Canadians.
Well, if those are the 2 choices, yes.
All right. Well, let's get into the story. So this is part 2 of Constructicons Rising. On the Mayalx planetoid, construction of the Energon processing facility has been completed. So the Constructicons have some downtime. Scrapper uses that time to train his team for an uncertain future. He starts by having Bone Crusher, the thug of the group, square off against Wimpybots, Scavenger, and Long Haul in a mock gladiator battle. Hopefully, the sparring session will toughen up the bots and give them some experience being in a fight. As Scrapper and Hook watch Bonecrusher deliver a beatdown, Hook questions the point of this exercise, while Scavenger and Longhaul complain about their whooping. Scrapper explains that he needs them to be ready for anything. Even with their construction job done, Cybertron continues to delay bringing them home. Scrapper has a feeling something isn't going right, and they might need to be prepared for a fight. Mixmaster is also skeptical. Isn't Cybertron at peace now? There hasn't been a war since before they were forged. So who would they be fighting against? Mixmaster would rather juice up one extra energon using the recycling processor Hook invented. Scrapper warns him that he shouldn't consume so much energon, since other bots will notice how high-powered he is. They'll think they're skimming energon off their quota. On the other side of Mayox, some insectoid bots are feasting on the husk of a bot who was unfortunately killed in a construction accident earlier. As they finish consuming their meal, the three bots transform into their robot modes: Kickback, Shrapnel, and their leader, Bombshell. It's been a while since they enjoyed a good meal, and now they're enjoying the rush of energy. Their insectoid nature allows them to hyper-metabolize the raw materials they consumed, and they transform back into insect mode, allowing the excess energy to rush through them. Later, Bombshell makes remote contact with his handler, Shockwave. Shockwave is annoyed that things are not going as quickly as he'd like on Mayox. Bombshell tells him to be patient. They have to approach the Constructicons carefully or risk scaring them off. Bombshell laments not using his Cerebro shells to just mind control them, but also enjoys the idea of manipulating the Constructicons into thinking that they made their own decision to join the Rise. Shockwave is not concerned with the details, but just wants the mission done. Bombshell promises success. Back at the Constructicons camp, Scrapper is giving another lesson. Scrapper lets Scavenger and Longhaul sit this one out, and tells Bonecrusher to attack him instead. Bonecrusher is hesitant to attack his boss, but Scavenger tells him don't hold back. So Bonecrusher charges head-on with a fierce attack. But Scavenger easily dodges Bonecrusher's lunge and uses his own momentum against him, slamming him headfirst into the dirt. Scrapper uses this as a teachable moment to show how you can use your opponent's overconfidence against them. But the lesson is interrupted when a new stranger, insect-like bot, jumps into the arena from above. The Constructicons are startled, and Scrapper is worried about having this new visitor expose their unsanctioned gladiatorial practice. But the new insect bot, Bombshell, is just here to talk. Bombshell wants to tell them a story about how Cybertron uses and then discards bots with special talents when they've outlived their usefulness. Bombshell tells them about his own origin with his fellow insect bots Shrapnel and Kickback. They were forged many kilocycles ago and discovered they had a very special power and hunger. They were driven to consume raw materials and never be satisfied, no matter how much they consumed. But with their consumption, their bodies metabolize the material at an amazing rate, creating a lot of excess and extremely powerful form of raw energon. They became a curiosity for Cybertron scientists who wanted to understand what they were. They were painfully experimented on, but the scientists couldn't figure them out. In the meantime, Cybertron used Bombshell and his friends to become their mobile cleanup crew, consuming and recycling all of Cybertron's refuse. They generated more and more energon for Cybertron, all the while happily feasting on Cybertron's wastelands. And as the War of the Threefold Spark raged on Cybertron, their feasts became even more plentiful. They could drink the energon and the latent spark energy of the bodies of all the bots killed in the conflict. But as their appetite for the dead grew, those in power feared the Insecticons would eventually want to feed on the living. So despite all that the Insecticons had done for Cybertron, they were exiled to a remote energon colony. Bombshell asks if his story sounds familiar. Bots do their job better than anyone else, help Cybertron prosper, and are rewarded with banishment. But Scrapper protests. The Constructicons are nothing like the Insecticons. They're builders, not scavengers, and no one fears what they can do. But Bombshell argues that's not true. They're kept at low energon rations and kept away from Cybertron because Cybertron fears the Titan they can combine to become. Bombshell has come to offer the Constructicons a choice: to seize their own destiny and throw off the shackles Cybertron has kept them in. If they take Bombshell's offer, they will embrace the powerful form they can become rather than fear it. To be continued. So this was definitely, I think, very much a setup exposition issue. So not a lot happened, but I did like bringing the Insecticons into the story and showing Bombshell using manipulation. Again, I feel like Tyler Blazinski has captured the G1 personalities of the Insecticons. I mean, even the speech patterns, you've got Shrapnel and Kickback in the same speech patterns they had in the G1 cartoon. And I like how they've tweaked their origins a little bit, but it's kind of a similar idea that the Insecticons are these bots that just are always eating and eating and eating. And I like how they work that in. So I just think it's interesting how the Insecticons are basically the ones who tempt the Constructicons down the road to a dark path. I thought that was an interesting dynamic here. I like Livio Remondelli's art. I mean, it's still the short battle scenes were pretty well choreographed here, and each of the Constructicons' personalities is still shining through here. So I like how they continue to get developed, even though you don't have a lot of space in a 20-page comic, but each of these characters I think gets a little moment to shine. So I think it's going along pretty well. I'm hopeful we'll get some Devastator action next issue and see things ramp up. So we'll see. Daryl, what did you think of this issue?
There's a lot of talking. There's an awful lot of chit chat. This was slow for me. There's just a lot of just storytelling. I found it fairly slow and boring. I just want them to form Devastator and bust shit. Just, the bot that they ate because of the construction accident, do we think that's the one that caught the pipe in the head?
I believe so, yeah.
Is that what we're led to believe? Okay. Well, I mean, that'd be kind of neat that Tyler, kind of kept that going from issue 1, but it could have been anybody. I mean, there wasn't anything there to kind of show us that it was from the first issue. But because they had mentioned here that this has happened before, so they've the builders are careless, and there's more accidental injuries and stuff like that. So yeah, this is seems like something that keeps happening.
I just looked at the issue 1, and you can't really tell the coloring.
No, it's very small.
Is not well. There's the coloring is kind of one color in that panel. Yeah. So I think you're right. It's happened multiple times. It could be the same. Mm-hmm. It could not be.
And are we also led to believe that that Hook basically invented a machine that got the Constructicons hooked on an energon that was more of a drug here? So they're essentially addicted to this stuff.
That's what it seemed like. I mean, I think the implication is that the bots are kept at maybe 50% rations or something. So everyone is kind of depowered because they're not allowed to fill up on
Sure.
their full energon capacity, and they have found a way to take, I guess, quote unquote, waste energon and refine it back into good energon, and that waste energon, I guess, has a different taste or something that
some
is
kind
addictive.
Of addictive property to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the Insecticons have something to do with tainting that.
I don't think so. I think it's just a part of the process of the filtering. But then with regards to Bombshell and his entire story, the entire story could be a lie. I mean, we already know from his previous appearance in the book that he's been told to get the Constructicons under his control and make them do his, what he needs them to do, because he needs them working for him now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything that Bombshell says could be bullshit, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have no reason to believe that what he's saying is true. He could just be telling him something that he wants. But I mean, as far as the story goes, I mean, it said a lot of stuff. It introduced the Insecticons, which is fine. It introduced Shockwave. Is Shockwave in the other series yet?
Yes.
Okay.
He is the leader of the Rise in the main
that's right.
series.
Yes. Okay, that's right. But yeah, other than that, they really didn't move the story along too much here. But it was a heavy worded book here. There was a lot of paragraphs going. Other than that, yeah, it's fine. looking forward to number 3. Bring me some Devastator action.
All right, Yoshi, what are your thoughts?
Charles, this just became the book about Bombshell to me. That little character development tweak or addition of him being being able to manipulate people was amazing. Like I am interested in him and him alone right now. I'm not nothing else in this book has piqued my interest. The rest of the book is following the IDW make it a trade, right for the trade, screw the individual issues mentality. And as a result, each issue feels painfully slow. We hope that issue 4 has some action, but it ends up all concluding with issue 5 or 6, depending on how many issues they're going to make this a trade of. But that one aspect was really cool. I'm really into wanting to know how fucking lethal Bombshell's going to be. Why aren't they, or maybe I missed it, but why aren't the Constructicons more concerned about him knowing that they're a combiner team?
I mean, they didn't. I guess that they ended the issue before they really got into it. Like that was only the last thing that Bombshell mentioned. So you don't get the reaction of what the Constructicons said. How they reacted to his last statement. Like he only brought that up at the very end on the last page.
All right.
So maybe next issue will be the start of it. Like, how do you know what we are or something? I don't know.
And it kind of leads credence to what I'm saying. It's going to be like, well, how do you know? Why did this get out? It's going to be another talkie book, which there's nothing wrong with there being a talkie book, but make me feel like my $4 were justified in spending it on you. And God damn it, if Bombshell makes me feel like almost that $4 was justified. But yeah, it's I can see people who like this type of formatting, just buying the issues and then waiting until all 5 or 6 are out and then reading the series and then coming back to listen to us because our commentary is amazing. But man, I mean, it's I'm a broken record. Make me feel like something happened, I guess. And I don't feel like it.
Okay. I mean, I guess I mean,
the Bombshell thing's amazing, Charles. I mean, really, I thought that was fucking ingenious, absolutely ingenious. And I think, I want to give Tyler a chance. I think he's got a pretty gnarly Devastator story here. And he probably originally had a gnarly Devastator story that he had to fit into IDW's, right for the trade aspect that they have lately. So I'd be interested to read the director's cut, if you will.
I mean, I think part of the at least what I see as an issue is that comics are shorter now. Like they're only giving them 20 pages now instead of 22 or 23. And I think the story was pitched as kind of probably a 4-part story, and I think it's just you need exposition somewhere in the story to understand the motivation of the characters, and I think this issue gives me all the motivation for everything that I think is interesting. Like you said, Bombshell's introduction here I think is really spot on. But yeah,
it's spot on and it's upgraded.
Yeah.
How much more lethal would he have been in G1 if he was also a fucking psychopath and could manipulate you with your words? That'd be fucking amazing. But I'm simplifying it, but issue 1 was what? Hey, we combine. Issue 2 is Shockwave saying, let's manipulate these guys. Okay. I
mean, that's fair. I mean, it's also, the comic also they have to stand on their own in terms of they can't just rely on all the past characterizations of these characters. They do have to introduce all these characters and show them to new readers. I mean, there's got to be someone out there who's maybe never heard of the Constructicons who's going to pick this up and wants to know who they are. So first issue you have to introduce them, and second issue you're bringing in your antagonist. So I don't know, maybe it can be done faster and more with more conflict and action put in. But I mean, I think that those introductions have to be made. Anyway, we're not giving Jeremy a chance to talk. So, Jeremy, what did you think?
I think I enjoyed it. It is very wordy. Some of my issues from issue 1 carry over, mainly the dialogue. Just, I don't know. It just seems, I don't know. It doesn't, it seems a bit cliche, just kind of the actual things that they say. The story itself, I am digging, like the overall plot, the ideas. I like the addictive kind of, what's the word? The kind of like the filtered energon. I like that idea. I do like that they're still fairly young and impressionable, and that Bombshell is going to take advantage of them, even though they are still rough and tumble, and you're getting to see their personalities again in like kind of these fights among, in the training and stuff that they're doing. I think my biggest issue is just the amount of words in it, and that could just be chalked up to this is Tyler's second comic book he's written, and it's just he's learning, as he's going. But I think wordy comics have a place, but I am kind of, particularly with this group, I want more of a show don't tell type of book. We got to see a little bit of Devastator doing stuff last issue, and I understand this is still set up. By the end of the arc, I want to see some combiner destroying stuff action. But I am really liking the whole Bombshell, how this is tying into the other series with the Shockwave connection. As usual with all Transformer comics, Shockwave is behind everything. That seems to be kind of the through line, even going back to the Marvels days where Shockwave was in charge of everything.
Yep.
But I like that he had someone on this planet keeping an eye on the Constructicons, wants to kind of bring them into the fold, and giving Bombshell that the task of doing it without using his gimmick is great for the development of Bombshell's character. I agree with Yoshi. It adds a depth to the character that hasn't been in some of the other interpretations. So I think this is a 4-issue arc.
Yep.
The solicitations mention it's in January, as like Livio and Tyler working on it.
I think that's a typo.
Yeah. So, we have reached the end of the setup. The next 2 issues need to be paid off. So we'll see where that goes. But I do like Livio's art in here. We get, most of the stuff is dark scenes, which is typical for his stuff. We do get a couple scenes with kind of daylight, like that first scene with the Insecticons. I would like to see more of his stuff in kind of a daylight setting, because it does seem to look a little bit cleaner at times. But the coloring, particularly with like the Energon stuff and the bright purple, I really like. And then also, I forgot to mention that with the tie-ins, we see Brainstorm in just a panel. And it's like, are we gonna at some point get a flashback and see what Brainstorm had to do with these? And since we know, there's a mystery with Brainstorm's murder, is there a bigger story there that we're going to be able to? That would be interesting.
And I said shrapnel in my review, but they do call him Scrapnel in this, which I'm just shaking my head like, terrible. Why?
You're going to have to get with the program.
It will never be Scrapnel, just like it will never be Refractor. Just stop.
They dock us every time.
Well, 10% of 0 is still 0, so
I know.
That's okay. All right, well, that is our review of Transformers Galaxies number 2. So we will move on to Transformers Media News.
All right, in media news this week, Hasbro shut down Backflip Studios. So we may not know Backflip Studios, but they were the publisher behind Transformers Earth Wars. You may think, Transformers Earth Wars? Well, I'm still playing this game. Well, that's okay. The Backflip Studios is just the publisher. They made the game, but all of the day-to-day runnings of the game were transferred to Space 8 Games. So back in 2013, Hasbro acquired Backflip Studios for $112 million. And I guess that was good enough for 6 years. So they are now Hasbro released a statement and about this and I'll read it here. They said, "We've made the difficult business decision to close Backflip Studios. Despite working with the studio for the past few years, we've been unable to find a viable path forward. While we've hoped for a different outcome, all employees will ultimately be departing the organization. They've been fired. Affected employees have been informed and will be eligible to receive severance packages." Well, that's good. "We are also exploring potential opportunities for impacted employees that may be a fit for open positions within our broader organization. Hasbro remains committed to digital gaming in other areas of our global business as well as part of our long-term strategy and will continue to invest where we see opportunities for growth." Very businessy. This story is on TFW 2005, and they reached out to Space Ape Games, and because they are the ones running Earth Wars, and they said that despite the closure, everything's going to run normally. So they just announced that they're going to be adding the G.I. Joe stuff to the game. That's all coming, and it's still coming out, and there's going to be no kind of hiccup with that at all. So, yeah. I don't know if I spent $112 million 6 years ago, I'd like to have something to show for it.
Well, they do have that one guy that spent so much money on it.
That's $150,000. I mean, I'd rather have $112 million.
I mean, did these guys make anything else? Maybe Backflip Studios made a bunch of the other like crappy Transformers mobile games
it's
that have
true.
been out.
I don't know.
No, they didn't. The Allspark had a story on it and mentioned some.
Because like there was that Bumblebee game, there was a bunch of other like.
No, those were all like they're all done by different groups. I think.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Backflip made numerous iOS and Android games. Best known for Dragonvale and Earth. I think when we had interviewed people about the game, they were through Space Ape.
Yes.
I think they've been the driving force for the game, and for all accounts, it is profitable, or it is bringing in money. So I would believe them that they're, with the number of updates that they've done, there's obviously a reason why they're doing it. So I think it's going to continue. But Backflip itself was just a publisher and probably wasn't really bringing in any of the money.
They were contracted to design a game. They designed the game, and
even that, I think they were just the people that published the game. I think Space Ape is actually the ones that
you
wrote
think
the
so?
game.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because they said that Space Ape's the developer.
All right. Well,
who knows?
It's unfortunate for the people that work there, but hopefully they'll be able to land on their feet.
Unlike Toys R Us, they get a separate package.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, there's not too much. There's a bit of a rundown here on the Cyberverse Season 2 and how it's kind of shaping up across the globe. It's basically, if you're in Indonesia, you've got up to Episode 9. In Germany, you've got up to Episode 5. France, 12. Brazil and Portugal, up to Episode 5. Same with the rest of Latin America and Spain. Russia's got all 18 episodes already. And Dutch, Holland area, has only Episode 3.
So will we get an entire Season 2 review from Yoshi Yoshi?
Oh, I bet you could. Yeah, I bet you could.
I mean, to be fair, all 18 episodes are making the motions daily around the world. So,
Charles stole my joke. So it's they're out there, but legally and through the proper channels, those are where everywhere is sitting. I don't even know where they're sitting in North America and Canada. I haven't even been watching them on TV.
Well, it looks like these links on this page, these are all just YouTube playlists for those different areas, so they're region locked. So it's just Canada apparently doesn't get a YouTube playlist.
Nope. They assume that we'll get them from the US, which we don't.
And the next story will tell you what episode we're up to in the US.
Yeah,
because it's on YouTube.
So there you go. And as Charles so smoothly alluded to, Season 2, Cyberverse Power of the Spark, is up to Episode 8 now on YouTube. So if you are in America and you are watching it on YouTube alone, that is how far you are able to get.
Yeah, and as we mentioned before, the episodes show up on YouTube the day after they air on Cartoon Network in the States. So that is always going to be the case.
Cool.
Because I guess Cartoon Network doesn't bother to rerun them, so I guess Hasbro figures they need to get their own marketing out there.
Right on. Well, that's it for media news.
All right. Well, we will finish up the show with a bit of feedback.
Thanks, Charles. And if you guys would like to leave us some feedback, head on over to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. There you can send us a handwritten letter. We'll tell you how. But today, Jeremy has a voicemail from Dr. Pants himself to play for us.
Hey guys, Dr. Pants here, and I just wanted to say, because you asked a couple episodes ago, if anybody was playing the trading card game seriously, and I have been. I started picking up the cards when they were coming out just to appreciate the card artwork. I didn't really have anybody to play the game with or anything, because none of my friends are really into trading card games or Transformers that much, for that matter. But I actually found out over the summer then that a local card shop was running events for it, and I was able to get in and start playing with a couple of people and learn how to play. That really got me into the trading card game. I got to do a couple of tournaments there. They did a Turbo tournament, which is, I believe that's the one where you open packs and play, and it's small scale, and it's one of the ones they have on the website for it. But I played a couple of small tournaments. I've gone out to a couple of cities and played. I do a lot of trading with a lot of friends. Two of my friends are huge into this game actually now, and they're buying booster boxes and trying to be completionists with the card sets and everything. It's kind of nuts. Me personally, I'm really enjoying picking up the cards. I'm enjoying making decks and trying out new strategies and really getting into just how to play and new strategies and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun. I do love the artwork on the cards still, but I love to play it. I've always been a trading card game fan, and I'm really into this. Not super great at it, but I always enjoy it. Gotta say, I loved making a Predaking deck. Anyway, guys, thanks for everything. Love the show. Hope you guys get a chance to really get into this and play it at some point, and I'll talk to you later.
Well, thank you very much for that voicemail, Dr. Pants. It was nice to hear your voice again. And what I heard from him is a lot of what I heard echoed at TFCon Burbank last year. And I know I've checked locally at my local stores, and they do carry the cards, but they said sales aren't high enough to justify doing any tournaments here. I'm just sharing that. I love the art too. That's why I buy a few packs here and there. You guys have anything to add?
I should check the card store here and see if they do tournaments, because I know Magic is definitely their big thing. I haven't talked with them since the first decks were coming.
Yeah, I just never got into trading card games in general. Like, I never got into Magic. I never got into anything else. So it's kind of still something I don't have the time or inclination to do. But the art, I did buy some of the cards because I do like the art. But yeah, I don't see myself getting into it all that much, unfortunately.
Do you get the cards up in Canada, Daryl?
We do. Okay. And I found out...
Except for Quebec.
Yeah, except Quebec.
Quebec.
I did find that there's a store near me, like within a 5-minute drive, that is running tournaments once a week. I could go. I'm a little behind the 8 ball, but because I'm about almost 4 sets behind now. So, yeah, I haven't been going. But it'd be neat to go and check it out just to see how everything's kind of working. Yeah, it's one of those things that I just had to cut something short. I can't invest in the card game if I'm going to buy all these toys too, you know?
I hear you. Sounds like you have to give up the toys. I feel really bad for you.
I do. I'm going to have to.
But thank you again, Dr. Pants. I really appreciate it. And you guys, too, can leave us a voicemail. Just head on over to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. And that's it for this week, Charles.
All right. Well, that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
I mean, I just won't mention it in the alt mode show. They know they won. All right, we ready? Okay, here we go.
That was a unanimous yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming.